Care, where emergencies are met with swift attention and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Do the math. At Oak Mountain Academy, our average graduating class has just 12 students. We celebrate a 100% graduation rate with more than $10.5 million in college scholarships offered. Plus, 96% of our students are accepted into their top choice college. Do the math. Can you see the value of an OMA education? I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, and I'm here to help you do the math. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
National headlines and the local stories you care about. WLBB, Carrollton, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
Time right now is 8:30. Good Friday morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And this morning, you can see my handsome young guest. His name is Donald Levans. I'll certainly introduce him here in just a second. Today's shows would be part of this 200th birthday celebration of Carroll County. I've been trying to put together some shows about iconic locations, iconic buildings, iconic people in the community, and some history over the last 200 years of Carroll County. And today, like I said, is one of those shows. We have a legend on the program this morning. He may not say so, but he is. Done a lot of great work. Turns 95 years old tomorrow, and I hope he doesn't mind that I call him a friend. Hope he's not too embarrassed or doesn't fight that off too much. He's also an author, and he has letters that he wrote when he was 19 years old that are in the library at the University of West Georgia, close to Newt Gingrich's papers. So that's pretty impressive as well. Also been part of Carroll County for almost half as long as Carroll County has been here, which is kind of a big deal, too. I think we're going to start, go back to his early days here in Carroll County. He's an exceptional life, extraordinary life. He's done a lot of cool things, and we'll try and talk about as many of those as we actually can on this morning's Community Voice. Donald Levans, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Maybe I should turn your mic on, because you should talk. Yeah,
good morning.
Go. All right, there you go.
Now, you hear that?
I do. And thanks for coming out. I know you're not always, overly excited to talk about yourself and all the cool things you do, but I'm glad you were willing to come out this morning. And again, 95 years old tomorrow.
Can't believe it. Can you?
Still a spring chicken, too.
Yeah.
Well,
you're supposed to say, when I say I'm 95, you're supposed to say, well, you only look 75,
Well, I think we have said that before. It's just an old joke, so we didn't do it. Yeah. But again, thank you for coming out. And telling us some stories, giving us an idea of what Carroll County looked like maybe 75 years ago. And you think about it, just the 20 years, 15 years that I've been here, it's just changed dramatically. So I can imagine what it was like 75 years ago. Take us back. There wasn't a Levans Drive.
Levans Road.
Levans Road, sorry. Yeah. Wasn't a Levans Road 95 years ago, was it?
Yeah. Okay, I want to thank you. It's an honor that you would spend this much time with me, and I want you to know that you think I can talk about anything, and I usually can. But talking about me is a totally different approach. I'm not used to it. So,
well, I'll dig down there. We'll get you to talk.
Well, you may have to dig me out of the weeds, but you laid it out. You said you wanted me to go way back, and my great grandmother's uncle, Wesley Dominic, moved here from Alabama. He was a Civil War hero. And from Alabama, but he moved here in 1890 and bought lot 80 in Carroll County. That's a 202.5 acre lot, and the state of Georgia is divided up in those. And anyway,
is that part of the lottery?
I don't think so, because the house was there when he moved. The house is older than 1890, but. I got in genealogy and have done an awful lot of genealogical work, and then plowing through the grantor and grantee files, deeds out at the county seat, I learned that Uncle Wesley had purchased 1,785 acres of land between the Harrelson County line and where Levans Road and Center Point Road run into 113 down there. So what he had done, and by the way, he held on to that dirt average of 10 years, so he wasn't a real estate guy. So he was buying it for some reason, and this is my reckoning that back then you could make a living on 50 acres of land and 2 mules, and you would put a tenant farmer or sharecropper on the 50 acres, and they would earn a living. And so I know that that was going on. They had a grist mill at Center Point and a cotton gin. It was water wheel operated. And that was run by my mother's grandfather, R.W. West, back then. Had a store which you could buy anything that you needed at the store, a horse collar, chewing tobacco, and so on. The family has Granddaddy's books. He was a store operator for many years there in the beginning, where it would keep a record of who bought what on credit. And a book would say, R.W. West by James, backer, whatever else, Gingham.
Have you seen that book?
Yeah.
It's still around? That book survived?
It's at the family, but I had it digitized, and it's in the Genealogical Society's quarterlies. For 2 years, every purchase that was made at that store by name is a great genealogy, and that's also on file at the Georgia Archives too, as well. So it's digitized.
Yeah.
Now, but a sharecropper would go buy what he needed. See, by James, that was the sharecropper's first name. And then when the cotton was produced and sold, the owner would subtract what he had spent at the store from his part. So it was a way of life back then. I have my great-grandfather's records that he had in a trunk. It's 8 inches high, and it's promissory notes, where I could go through and sort out what he had purchased in a year's time, what it cost him to produce a bale of cotton. So that's the way life was, if you want to go way back.
Before credit cards. It was the first credit cards, basically.
Well, there was no such thing as a bank check.
Yeah.
It was promissory notes. And Pleasant Lemons, he was real sharp. He tore his name off all those. So the corners torn off, every one of them.
That's funny. Pleasant
is his name.
That's cool.
Buried at Abilene.
Okay.
Yeah. I keep flowers on his grave.
Oh.
Yep.
Donald Levans, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Again, 95 years old, turns that tomorrow. He's got his family in from out of town. They're going to have a big celebration, and I hope everybody listening and watching celebrates too, in their own way tomorrow. Maybe raise a glass to Don Levans. And we're going to take our first break here and come back and continue our conversation. If you have any questions or comments for Don, feel free to post those on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, and I'll try and take a look at those and share those with our guests. Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy specializes in a customized designed academic approach tailored to meet the needs of our families. Our lower division prepares students with the necessary foundation to build excellence. Our middle division provides students with over 15 course offerings, providing them with opportunities to explore their talents and gifts. Our upper division provides personalized academic journeys, allowing them to achieve their dreams. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us, where every path leads to purpose.
Welcome back to the Community Voice on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. My guest this morning, Donald Levans, as we discussed 95 years on this earth, and doesn't look a day over 60. How about that? It was better than the 75 you said. A lot of people checking in this morning, Don. We got Melissa Warren. She says happy birthday and thank you for your service. We got Holly Presnell. She says he is precious. Says happy birthday.
Thank you.
Becky Barnes Griffin says happy birthday. Gerald Johnson says happy birthday. And Sandra Huey says happy birthday as well. Well, Don, we left our conversation in the first segment. I don't even think you were born yet, as far as that part, right?
I want to skip up to that part.
Okay.
Well, when I came along.
Do you remember that, Don? Do you remember that?
No, but I've been told about it a whole lot. I was born, they said, on the kitchen table in that house that Uncle Wesley had bought there. My mother and daddy lived there with, actually looking after Uncle Wesley, back then. But, no, he was gone before I came along, but that's why they were in the house with Granny McCullough, who was his niece. Granny McCullough and her sister, Ann Allman, I think it was, they inherited all of that land when he died and survived over the years many times by selling off land as you couldn't make a living on a farm. Because of that bug they called a boll weevil, and it was a depression of boll weevil depression. I was born in the midst of that in Carroll County, all the way from Carrollton to Temple. I did the 1940 census, created it to change it to digits with the Geological Society, so you could search.
Actually read it too.
Yeah, and you could search on your own computer for all that stuff. But there was one person in that whole distance that said anything other than farmer. It was store clerks. So they were all farmers.
In 1940, yeah.
And all the money was made on cotton. Corn and other stuff you grew to feed the mules.
The boll weevils, I understand they tore up the cotton, but did they tobacco too?
No. They were
just
cotton.
They
just ruined it. They were, yeah. Yeah, well, you sprayed arsenic on it. I got pictures of my daddy just covered in dust with the arsenic, trying to, you had to. They ruined the cotton, and they reduced the yield way back. Matter of fact, back then, the cotton farmer in early 40s to late 30s in Carroll County we did not make enough money on a crop to buy the guarantor for the next crop. And they would borrow money from the Georgia, some kind of a Georgia state or national thing that would have like a tax interest-free type of loan to get the fertilizer to make the next crop, which would also fail. And so you had to scrounge around and well, for one thing, we had our dirt when we could grow our collards and other wonderful foods and survive. By the way, I want you to know that that made me a very powerful person in my own being, that if I just had me 50 acres of dirt here and I went off to Chicago and the whole world fell apart, and I could walk back to this 50 acres, I could survive. And that gave me sort of a screw you.
Yes.
It was, I can survive. I swear to you that I could kill a hog and dress it right now. I helped enough, I know, and there is a way to survive. But back to the farm. So what do? Well, you got all these advisors coming in. Let's do peanuts. Peanuts didn't do it here. First of all, we didn't have the right plows, the right nothing to take it up. We was digging them out with our fingers, and the peanuts fell apart. And then finally, in Carroll County, they came up with pimento peppers. And everybody planted pimento peppers. And this wasn't a seed. You had to plant a little old plant, and water it. And it was, cotton farmers didn't go for it, but we did. And we had, Carroll County became the pimento pepper center of the world.
I don't think anybody's ever mentioned this to me on the show.
We had Pimento Festival in Carroll County, and one of our pretty little girls at Center Point was the queen of the cotton picking thing. So, no, but that was part of life at that particular time.
But all that, and it sounds like you probably enjoyed it a little bit, but all that, you decided you didn't want to be a farmer, though, didn't you?
I decided I didn't want to be a farmer. But I want to tell you this about that, how smart my father was. Well, when I was 13 and my brother was 12, we were 18 months apart. Mother dressed us like twins. Anyway, he said, okay, I'm going to give you boys that 2 acres right yonder, and you're going to grow your own cotton. And he meant it. We had to turn the dirt, we had to lay off the roads, we had to run the distributor, we had to run the planter, we had to hook up the mules, we had to sharpen the scooter plow. We grew that 2 acres, and we got a 500-pound bale of cotton out of it. Now, he taught us what it took, although we had followed the mule already for 4 or 5 years. At that time. So it taught me a lot about life and how what it took to.
See, you think about that. There's never a chance for you to have been bored. We think about the kids now, how everything's been made so much easier, so they have the opportunities to be bored and and play video games. I'm not knocking the video games, kids. I'm not putting that down and stuff. But that's it. You had to that project would take you 8 hours a day. You're talking about sharpening the tools and all that. You just never had an opportunity to be bored. You're constantly doing something.
Yeah, it was like we had 6 mules. It took 2 for a 50 acres. We were when I was a kid. All that vast that Uncle Wesley owned was down to 150 acres by then. That was what we farmed. But it took 6 men or 6 boys and men to follow those 6 mules every morning when you got to the shop. And that my daddy was a terrific blacksmith. And somebody had to be. The scooter plows some days, if you was in red dirt, you needed to sharpen the scooter plows at lunch too, because the point would get too dull. And then the technology of setting the plow up like it would be right for what you were doing, the depth of the scooter, the length of the trace change, it just was a technical thing that only Granddaddy and Daddy knew how to do. But I did learn it. By the way, I went in the Air Force. I was 19, and when I left, we still did not have a tractor. And that would have been 1950.
How long did you spend in the Air Force?
4 years.
4 years. And then you came back here and went to West Georgia College, right?
Yeah.
And what was your plan there?
What was my plan?
What was your plan at West Georgia? What were you going to study? What were you hoping to get educated on?
I was just hoping to get out of there alive.
Yeah.
No, that's a terrible thing I'm going to say, but during World War II in Temple, Georgia, you didn't get a whole lot of training, education in your senior year. I remember the principal was 4 boys in the Temple graduating class that year. Wanted to know if we wanted to think about going to college, and we all 4 said, yeah. He said, well, you're going to have algebra. So he took us for 2 weeks and drove some numbers and some letters and stuff on the blackboard. He gave us a B for algebra.
Yeah.
when I got to West Georgia, they figured that out right quick, and so I had to take some remedial training. But thank God for it. Matter of fact, there's no way that I could, I'll get emotional, that I can thank West Georgia for the things that I was able to put together there. Dr. Rao, he was had a speech class, which I took, and you had to go up on the stage and say your name and go back and sit down. I never got my name out. Anyway,
it's kind of like now. You still don't want to talk in front of the camera.
Everybody was that way, but then he said, "Okay, next time take your chair with you and stand behind the chair." Well, dang, if it was easier. But he did how now, brown cow, and all that type of stuff. That didn't take much. But I was also in some in some plays. In a real stroke of genius, I put speaking and dramatics together, and I could approach a podium like I owned it with that. And I was just one little thing in my life. I was extremely successful at public speaking.
And it was because of that, you think, because of the classes? You didn't have any of that before?
It's what it put me in the right place. One time there was way over 1,000 people in the Sears Tower in this massive meeting thing, and I had 30 minutes. I was in automotive, and I was a national marketing manager, $6 billion worth of business to get done in a year. And I had 30 minutes to convince the field people they ought to be on my program. So I go in with a Mexican hat on and Mexican music just blasting away, and they just had a running fit. So then I threw that hat down on the stage and danced around it like them Mexicans do.
That's your attention getter, right?
Then I jumped on the dang hat. It was a fancy Mexican hat. And then I went up to the stage and said, "Look, you've been dancing around the automotive program for 20 years.
Good one.
Here's what we're going to do this year." Well, I had the diehard battery to sell Sears steel-belted radials coming on the program. We introduced steel-belted radials. Michelin tire, we had a deal with Francois Michelin. We brought that tire to America as a Sears steel-belted tire.
In case you didn't know, Don went to work for Sears. That was we're going to take our second break and talk about that time in Chicago, because you were a big dog. I mean, I've seen pictures of you. I mean, good-looking guy too. I mean, you were Don Draper. I mean, you probably weren't the player that Don Draper was, but you good-looking man. We'll talk about that after this final break here. Come back and continue our conversation with Donald Levans. Turns 95 years old tomorrow. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is a vibrant community built on innovation, academic excellence, and a 64-year legacy of shaping community leaders. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, inviting you to visit the mountain and experience firsthand the passion, purpose, and personalized education that defines our school. Come see how our mission and vision come to life each day. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
Community Voice got about 6 minutes in the show this morning with our good friend Donald Levans. I did mention early on he is an author. I think it was 2013 that he released the book Tween, World War II in Vietnam, a Georgia Farm Boy's Tour of Duty in the Air Force in the early 1950s. It was letters basically a lot of letters that told your story at that time. That book is probably still available on Amazon. I've got an autographed copy myself. So, again, Don Levans, our guest, and several other people posted happy birthday on here, too, during the break.
Thank you.
Thanks to all of them for checking in. You can look at all those later. You always watch the show anyway later, don't you?
Always. I grade you.
Yeah, that's not a lie. You do. All right, we got about 6 minutes again. We're taking you to Sears. I mean, you had a very big job in Sears. You were a big dog, as I will say.
There was a lot of big dogs.
Sure, but still, I mean, and it's a big company. Sears. Maybe the kids don't right now maybe not know about Sears, but at the time, Sears ran everything. Sears was Amazon, right?
Yeah, I was much bigger than my job in a lot of ways, and it was partially because of my Methodist background and my moral standing. And I mean, for many times the CEO was said, "Has Levans seen this yet?" So many decisions that big companies make have some moral damage buried in them if you don't watch it.
And you were in Chicago in the Sears Tower.
I was the first to move in the Sears Tower and the first to move out of the Sears Tower to the new thing that we built outside. And we at Sears, you say we owned the company. We profit sharing. Well, every employee felt a part, and we did everything. But,
so you had that pride. Had that pride of the company.
It was a pride. Yeah. My greatest, only real disappointment in life is Sears folded. I was still, when I retired, it was still going full bore. We owned 5 different companies. It was actually Sears Holding, and the merchandise group was only part of it. But that's part of the problem. But hey, I signed on at Ponce de Leon, Sears Atlanta, and back then Sears was way ahead. Always was way ahead. That most people didn't know about, but they were into psychological and job testing. They gave me a test when I started at 85.5 cents an hour package sorter, working part time at Sears in 1956, but and I was going to school then at Georgia State. It was actually Atlanta Division, University of Georgia. I was in the first group of 85 to receive a degree from Georgia State.
See, I never knew that. I don't think you ever told me that.
Yeah, I got a lot of history. Anyway. In that test, several things taught me a lot about me. One was that I was smarter than 93% of the people I was going to run into. That was one thing. I thought, oh, my God. I wasn't surprised when I started looking around. But the other one was that about 80% of the successful buyers at Sears Roebuck answered the questions the same way I did, which meant that I was okay to be a Sears buyer. I'm talking about Sears Chicago buyer. There was another job at the local level called control buyer, and that's a job that I finally got in Atlanta, was control buyer. And I was buying all of the appliances for the Atlanta retail group and the Atlanta catalog region, which is carloads. I mean, you're talking about appliances, because we were the appliance world.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I had sort of thought, well, I might get to go to Chicago and work in the washing machine department. Lo and behold, I got an offer to come and work in the sewing machines and vacuum cleaners. I was severely disappointed, but I took it. And I want you to know that God puts you in places where he wants you. That was sewing machines and vacuum cleaners is the best place in the world to learn how to sell something belly button to belly button to a customer. I can make you want a sewing machine if you got 2 plugged in at the house. And I learned that in working in this department.
Now, Don, unfortunately, I got to cut you off, man. We're running out of time. Isn't that terrible? But you came back to Temple, came back to Center Point, got a beautiful house there, brought your beautiful wife with you and your 42 kids, And they're all doing good.
Two kids.
2 kids, okay, yeah. And they're all doing real good, too, right now. I mean, I know you're very proud of them and your grandkids, and you got one great-grandkid?
5.
Oh, 5 great-grands? Okay. Maybe I should have read the notes. Well, buddy, thank you for coming out this morning. I mean, I wish we could talk for 3 hours. I mean, you and I talk all the time, so I get that.
I told you to pick your poison.
Well, we did. We started with your early days here in Carroll County, talked about agriculture and farming, so everybody recognizes that, and that's a fascinating story. But I thought it was a big deal at your time in Chicago, in the big Sears Tower, which at one point was the tallest building in the whole world.
For a long time. Yeah. But I want you to, real quick, and I was in, our buyer invented a really new sewing machine breakthrough. I came to WLBB, had y'all do a spot at the little store, rented a little truck, advertised a truckload sale of sewing machines. It only was 10, but it looked like a truckload. Sold over 100 sewing machines right here in Carroll County.
All because the power of
radio.
radio.
Took that program nationwide in that little old department I was traded to. We had the largest increase in the history of the company, and it put me on the road to higher jobs.
We're going to have to bring Don back.
Just because of you.
Because of radio. Yeah, the power of radio. Don, thank you. All right, thank you for watching and listening. Again, happy birthday, Donald Levans. 95 years old tomorrow. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.